Alright guys, welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon qualifiers. We are in the middle of a match between Plato, some Tangos, and Psistorm Gaming. Plato won game 1, but we've got a new draft and a new game. Can they win game 2, Anna?
That remains to be seen, Gilly, and I'm excited to see what they draft because we didn't get to watch the draft last time, so excited to see that they already have done some bans, but I am sad at what those bans are.
Oh no, both Sylvanas and Kerrigan, two very strong heroes on this map, so it's understandable, but yes, still very sad indeed. Plato Sim Tangos are going to pick up Kael'thas this time, so they had Jaina last time. They're going to go for even more damage, at least in the late game, with Kael'thas.
Yes, and it is nice to see his face, a face we recognize as somebody who can do lots and lots of damage. Now, Psistorm goes ahead and picks up a Nubarak first, so they really think that's going to be important to them. We saw Co-Tank on a Nubarak last time for Psistorm. Wonder if we'll be seeing him there again, and they did have the 2-tank composition, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to add Jaina, though, which is going to make a lot of burst damage central to their composition, whether they go 2-tank or not.
Yeah, I really like this choice. So if they're going to go 2-tank, then we just mentioned that we thought maybe that they needed to have more damage with that, and they're going to do that with picking up Jaina. But you know who wasn't banned on this map? And it was the Lost Vikings, and Plato are saying, hey, we'll take them. We'll pick them up. They grab them and Uther as well.
They certainly will. Uther is really, I think, going to be a major player with these two teams. We saw how important stuns and roots were to these compositions. That really was a deciding factor in especially that last wipe in the game. So Uther bringing some stuns to the yard as well as some healing and some tankiness too. That's going to help, as Lost Vikings do have multiple bodies, but they are not very tanky, and neither is Kael'thas. There's a lot of squish happening on this team, so somebody who can take some hits as well as heal them is going to be great for Plato Some Tangos.
Well, Plato already has their support, so they chose to ban Brightwing. So that's going to limit the pool, the support pool that Psistorm can choose from. Psistorm choosing to ban Illidan, so not wanting to deal with that damage dealer on top of everything else. I think they're a little bit concerned because they did see the Uther. They know that Divine Shield is something that Illidan very much enjoys having when he is wreaking havoc with his metamorphosis. So they went ahead and banned that, and with that they've actually banned both melee heroes that we often see with that Divine Shield from the Uther. But Psistorm going to go ahead and grab Muradin as their warrior and has one more pick. They still need a support. They actually have 2 warriors now, so they should be all set on that. Be looking at support and more damage.
Yeah, we see the dual tank coming out again for Psistorm, but Muradin Anubarak means, you know, we usually see Muradin as a solo tank, but this time he's going to be with Anubarak. We do have Plato Some Tangos banning out Brightwing, so wanting to limit the amount of supports that Psistorm has available, but they're going to answer by grabbing Tyrande, which signposts to us that they might be also looking for another healer, because we generally don't see Tyrande solo support, and that means that Jaina is going to be their sole damage dealer here on Cursed Hollow. What do you think of that strategy if it is so, Gilly?
Well, they're looking for a lot of control, and we've actually seen this work before. They're going to have the ability to control the fight, lots of stuns from Tyrande, Muradin, and Anubarak, and then I would not at all be surprised even to see a Malfurion on top of that to finish out that composition. So they're going to have the ability to really control the fight, stun whomever they want, and focus on taking down whomever they want as well. Tyrande does enable the ability to up the amount of damage that a team can do as well with that Hunter's Mark. So if they're going to do that doubles tanks, double support, you've got to have somebody who can throw out the amount of damage that you need for just basically one dedicated damage dealer, and Jaina is one of those. So I mean, it definitely could work. Plato answering with their own warrior. They've got Johanna as well. And I'm guessing that we'll see them do something a little more standard, probably. I mean, I guess they could get Tassadar here, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see just another straight-up damage dealer either.
Yes, I'm sorry, Gilly. I'm working on the chat here. We have lots of moderators who have come to help you out, so thanks for the calls for that from the chat, everyone. No more shall we have types of trolls that will last much longer. Lots of mods in there now, so I apologize. Wasn't really following what you just said, but we do see Vala coming out to finish out the composition for Pool Play-Doh Some Tangos. And I love seeing Johanna's face, and I love seeing Uther's face. There's a lot of faces that I really like on Pool Play-Doh Some Tangos, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to let you finish, but I think Pool Play-Doh Some Tangos composition is a little bit stronger in my book. I really have a hard time believing, #believe, in the 1 damage dealer, 2 tank, 2 support build. Although, I will say, I think I have seen it work once.
Yeah, we have at least seen it work. And maybe we'll see it again here, but you are right. There is a lot of potential for Psistorm to be concerned here, because there is a Kael'thas who does a ton of damage, and Uther and Johanna, 2 heroes who can really keep people off of him. Lost Vikings will be there to soak up a ton of experience, so if Pool Play-Doh gets ahead in that regard, that's going to be even more difficult for Psistorm, who will have to maybe even give up tributes, maybe even curses at some point. So we'll have to see. We always say that about the 2 warrior, 2 support. It does occasionally work, but like you mentioned, it's not always the case, for sure.
The thing is, Psistorm really wanted this, though. This isn't a composition that was like a mismatch. Oh no, we have to take this because Pool Play-Doh took that. They wanted the Muradin Anubarak, so I thought maybe, you know, are we looking at some denies here? Are we looking at a composition that's going to make it harder for Pool Play-Doh Some Tangos to get something balanced? But the thing is, there are so many heroes that the days of, you know, oh, we took 2 tanks, so now you don't have any tanks to choose from, those days are over. There are plenty of great heroes to use, and Johanna is certainly a strong tank, so trying to take Muradin and Anubarak in order to lessen the amount of tanks for Pool Play-Doh Some Tangos definitely wasn't the objective here. The only thing that Psistorm banned was damage dealers, so I don't know. I have faith in Psistorm as a team. We have seen performance, especially as you mentioned, from Co-Tank in really high pressure situations and high strategy situations. So we'll see. I'm hoping that they can show me the power of only 1 assassin.
Well, yeah, I mean, the idea is that they never die, and they completely control the fight. So they catch somebody in a stun, and then Jaina instantly throws her whole combo on them, and then any additional amount of damage that might need to be done there, they've got a Hunter's Mark, they've got the damage from Anubarak and his beetles, which is sizable for a warrior, and then they even have Rhaegar, who does a fair amount of damage too. So it's all about control for them, but that requires them to be able to really know how to play this comp and control the fights. So I'm ready to see a lot of stuns. I'm ready to see some possible even ganking from maybe a Muradin Jaina or Jaina Tyrande running around, something like that. But we have loaded into the game, and it looks like Psistorm Gaming will be in blue. I'll go ahead and introduce them. They're down 0-1 in this game. And they are the Karate Kid on Jaina. In the bottom, we've got a Lucio playing Muradin, Vital on Rhaegar, Chrysilo playing Tyrande, and Co-Tank once again on Anubarak.
And it looks like, wearing red, we will have Pool Play-Doh Some Tangos. The king of the Play-Dohs, or Plato himself, King Plato, will be playing Kael'thas. Apollo will be on Johanna. Prismaticism will take all 3 Lost Vikings. Mookies will play Uther, and B-Kid will be on Vala.
Righto, and it looks like, once again, we're seeing Vikings kept together in the mid, so something we're not, you know, as familiar with. We usually see them splitting up completely, but not going to do so here. Johanna also will be taking a lane of her own, as Apollo is up top, so that does mean that Mookies, B-Kid, and King Plato are free to hang out together in the bottom lane, but we won't see that 4-man squad moving from lane to lane while 1 Viking is in each lane like we often see.
I don't know if you were looking at my face, Gilly, but my face was saying Vikings. Vikings, why? I don't understand the early game 3 Vikings together very well. I would think that maybe if you're really great at micro, you could try to be using them as a 1-hero gank squad. You could try to surround heroes, but I don't see Prismaticism doing that either. So I would love a player to explain to me the grouped Vikings composition strategy plan that we've seen twice today, because to me it seems like a waste.
Yeah, Anna and I are not really very much into playing the Vikings, but my thought process is they are aware that Psistorm Gaming does have a good gank squad, and maybe the idea is that if they spread them out, they'll just have a problem with them constantly dying or being pushed out of lane, and then they'll be losing on the experience. So Kotank is going to be up here versus Apollo here in the top. And so we'll have both tanks up there, but we're seeing a little bit of rotation here coming in from Psistorm, going after those Vikings. One will be taken out already. Looks like they will be able to get Balog as well. Each one only counting for a quarter of a hero's worth of experience, but still it counts for something.
We also saw some pressure down here on Karate Kid in the bottom lane, but Karate Kid was able to keep themselves very safe. It's important when you're playing Jaina to be cognizant of the fact that you cannot face check things, you cannot be overextended. It looks like Chrysalo and Lucio, though, coming down to help her be able to move forward in this lane and potentially look to either just clean up the lane, take out Mookies, or hopefully get as far as getting some hits on those towers.
Very early giant pickup here on top for Pool Plato as well, but it's going to be spotted by Tyrande. Unfortunately, will not be any sort of early enough to be able to maybe go after it. But here we have level 4 talents for each team. The tribute is spawning, and that does mean that the Giants will be pushing while the tribute's up. So it's going to force Psistorm to decide if they defend it, if they send everybody up to the tribute, or if they, or some sort of combination of them both.
It looks like neither team being in too much of a hurry. Chrysalo's kind of going to arrive and be like, well, if nobody else wants this tribute, I guess I'll take it. Apollo's going to come and look to contest, but Lucio will be there to zone out, so it looks like the first tribute will, in fact, go to Psistorm.
But because they don't have anybody else here on bottom, they're losing a ton in terms of experience for those structures. They've already lost both towers, and the Giants are still completely healthy. The Karate Kid cannot deal with all three of these and actually needs to be really careful, because with the Gravity Lapse as well as the Hammer of Justice, there's definitely the potential to get stunned, and if she gets stunned, she's going down.
It's a really good move from Pool Plato, because when you don't go for a tribute, what you should do instead is make sure that you're beefing up your experience, because what it takes to get a tribute is pulling somebody out of lane. So Pool Plato, instead of committing to that tribute, needed to commit to gathering some experience. They did with structures, but not a whole lot yet. So certainly Psistorm is not too worried about that.
And once again, Pool Plato are going to look to pick up mercenaries to push while the next tribute is spawning. So a really good job of that so far, forcing their opponents to decide what to do between two options, and that's always something that's really nice to do. It forces them to be kind of on the back foot there. Both teams have picked up their level 7 talents as well. We have, once again, Cleanse for Uther, multi-shot build for Vala, so focusing on AoE damage, which is understandable because they are going up only one. Well, actually, it's interesting because they are going up against two warriors. A lot of time when you see a Vala up against a double warrior composition, you'll see them go for that single target, that Rancor build, but that's not going to be the case this time.
Interesting. We also have the second tribute spawning, and it looks like Psistorm will yet again be able to grab that Vital just by his lonesome, grabbing that tribute that nobody else wanted. Pool Plato some Tangos instead is interested in grabbing some more structures up here in the top lane.
And they're really kind of missing out on experience a little bit, though. Only grabbing experience here in the top and in the bottom. Looks like we are going to have a pause, so I'm going to pop back over to the cameras just for a second.
Looks like Apollo says they are experiencing some lag, so we are unfortunately bound by the frailties of modern technology. Gilly, we have to wait until that lag dissipates. Looks like we have a frozen screen completely. It's hard to play when your screen freezes.
Yeah, it's basically impossible to do that, for sure. Right, well, we do get the chance to look at the talents a little bit more, which is always nice. I did want to mention that Jaina did go for Envenom, so noticing that they don't have a lot of damage and trying to capitalize on that any way they can with a Ranger's Mark as well for Tyrande, pretty typical at that. Even Feral Heart for Rhaegar, so going to be getting extra regeneration. So I think we might actually set Feral Lunge later on as well. Generally, when we see one, we see the other. Beetle build, 2 for Anubarak, so that's going to be really helpful in pushing lanes and dealing additional damage at that.
Absolutely. I'm taking a look at this Johanna build as well. Because she's so new, it's really fun to see how those builds develop. Curious what you think of Sins Exposed at level 7. That means that her shield glare which blinds enemies. Also is going to mark them for 4 seconds, and they're going to take 30 extra damage the next time an ally damages that person. So I really like abilities that put a mark on somebody and allow more damage to be done to them. We see that on a lot of heroes. What do you think of that one chosen for Johanna?
Well, they do have Kael'thas and Vala, so they do have the potential of being able to take someone down really quickly, especially someone who's squishy, and especially when they only have one person really who's the damage dealer, the specific damage dealer on the side of Psistorm in that Jaina. So maybe that's what they're looking at doing. Maybe it's that they're going to try to burn down somebody like Rhaegar. If they were able to take him out, then they wouldn't have that ancestral healing talent as well. So something to consider, but it looks like they do want to just focus on damage, noticing that they are more of the damage dealers than their opponents, and trying to capitalize on that as much as possible.
It looks like the teams are just about ready to unpause. Apollo saying that they're having some trouble still, but think it might be fixed, warning us that we may see another pause. Just so you know, says Apollo. It looks like we are ready to get back into the game. So as we were talking about, we have Plato some tangos pushing very hard against this top lane. Kotank trying to defend, but he's by himself. He's not going to be able to do much as they really put the pressure on this top fort.
It seems like Psistorm was thinking, okay, we'll just counter push on bottom, but Prismaticism on the Vikings doing a really good job of defending there. Now Anubarak has gone down on top, so this is going to be a free fort for Plato. But unfortunately, King Plato is being attacked by the fort and will go down. Couldn't get out of that in time, and now might not be a free fort after all. They're going to have to wait for the minions to push in a little bit here. And while that's happening, it looks like Psistorm going to be content to pick up bruisers. Once again, we're looking at teams trying to merc right before tributes pop up, so that mercs will be pushing down lanes while the tributes are spawning.
And we still see, just like the last game, fairly even levels, although right now, by just a half level, we see Plato some Tangos is going to pick up their level 10 talents, so they are not afraid to be in an engagement. They're going to use that lack of fear to go ahead and grab this tribute. It looks like Psistorm will not contest. Instead, they're going to be looking to take this boss, which is a good move, because that means that probably Plato some Tangos is going to want to come contest that, but they're going to have to leave one person behind, at least for a while, to channel that tribute. It's going to be 4v5 when they finally do arrive, and the boss is going to be very low. Will we see an engagement that will manage to steal it? Prismaticism is going to jump right on the boss and try to stop it from being channeled. A great condemn from Johanna, pulls everyone in, does some damage, but Kotank will go down. Looks like 3 members, in fact, of Psistorm are dead, and the rest are running away. Plato some Tangos manages to take that engagement as well as the boss.
Man, they got there by the skin of their teeth, but what's most important to realize is that Psistorm, we've mentioned it, not super damage focused. They have Jaina, they have Tyrande for the Hunter's Mark, but otherwise they're all about control, and so they couldn't burn that boss down fast enough, and once they got into the engagement, Plato already had their heroic abilities. They have Phoenix, they have Blessed Shield for a whole bunch of stuns, they have Divine Shield for sustainability, they even have Strafe, so that's going to be dealing a ton of damage, and then the Longboat Raid, which of course does damage itself as well. So now, just now, Psistorm are picking up their level 10 heroic abilities as well, and they have 2 forts down, and we haven't even had a curse yet.
Right now, there was already another tribute spawning. Mookie's was all by himself there, was able to pick that up. So now it is 2-2 in terms of tributes. That means the next team to pick up a tribute will curse their opponents. So we're very likely to see an engagement around the next tribute, Gilly, because both teams will not want that curse to happen to them.
Rhaegar took a long time deciding on his heroic ability. That might actually be why he's being caught out here, to be perfectly honest. He was considering that bloodlust. They were thinking hard about that bloodlust. He did get ancestral healing. Unfortunately, I think that actually might be why they got caught out, which is kind of stinks, because now that's a great Phoenix that's going to zone. They're going in for this fort. This is another fort. Meanwhile, the boss is still pushing on top. Plato completely controlling this game, pulling Psistorm, getting back and forth, making them try to figure out what to deal with, what's most important, trying to prioritize, but losing a lot in that process.
Absolutely. They make short work of this fort and turret, but instead of pushing on, they're going to back off because, as we mentioned, that tribute is so important. If they manage to grab this, it will curse their opponent, Psistorm, and I don't know if Psistorm is going to be able to do much about it. because of the level 13 that is had by Plato some Tangos, but it looks like they are going to try because they know how important this is. They're going to look for the engagement. The shield glare goes down from Johanna. Not a whole lot of abilities being used yet as each team looks for the perfect engagement, Gilly.
Yep, and Lucio is going to come in, taking a little bit of damage from Living Bomb. There is the Phoenix, but so is the Starfall, a Venn diagram of damage, if you will. And there goes the Ancestral Healing on Vital, but unfortunately Jaina is down. That's it. That's all the damage they have. They've taken out Uther, but Lucio, very, very low, is trying to stay alive. Apollo is put on the chase, but taking some damage from Vital herself, so now trying to get away. Meanwhile, Tyrande has also been taken out, and so has Anubarak. Still, they're trying to put on the chase on Vital and Lucio. And remember, this is the most important thing. The tribute's still up. They're picking it up now. And for 16 seconds, they don't have everyone up to defend. So this is going to be a long amount of time where Plato will be able to push lanes completely undefended. Thankfully, for Psistorm Gaming, they were pushed out fairly far. So they're going to be able to get everyone back up before they're going to have to do any hard defense at their structures.
Also, Plato some Tangos is a little bit weak from the engagement, so they're not quite as healthy and quite as confident as they might have been otherwise. B-Kid is up here against Chrysalo, but Chrysalo is able to defend fairly well. You see the rest of Plato some Tangos on their way to take this mid lane, while the distraction of the top lane draws some attention from Psistorm.
Yeah, alright, well, we've got this push happening on bottom. 30 seconds left on this curse. So a great... The Lunar Flare does stun all of the Vikings, but not really too much to follow up on that. They've got to be really cautious not to try to engage too far in because they still don't have 13. And that Phoenix is zoning, pushing everybody from Psistorm back even a little bit more, so it allows Plato to be able to push in toward this keep. Kotang's going to go in. This is the time to fight. They are at the same talent tier level, and now a great Divine Shield keeps King Plato from the brink of death, and now amazing strafe dealing a lot of damage, but they have lost Uther, so there goes the healer. Ancestral Healing will keep Anubarak alive, allow him to burrow charge back in, but Rhaegar is down as well, so we've got healers down on both sides. Now Anubarak's down, so is Jaina, so is Tyrande, everyone's so low, but only Lucio remains on the side of Psistorm Gaming, which means Plato can be very aggressive, going to pick up this keep, and with that, level 16.
The Phoenix behind the wall between the tower, the well, and the fort or keep is such a devastating and frustrating thing to defend against, because you really don't want to put yourself in danger to fight underneath your own structures that are supposed to protect you. And usually what that does is give an opening to your opposing team to come in and do lots of work, and that's exactly what happened there. So great Phoenix placement, definitely something that Psistorm really couldn't do much about.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and now because of that, Psistorm is down 2 levels in a very big talent tier difference. Those level 16 talent tiers, or talents, are huge, especially when you've got a Kael'thas with Ignite, as Flamestrike's going to start applying Living Bomb to heroes, and that's where you start seeing a ton of AoE damage, but especially single target, taking down even people like tanks. So with that as well, there's also a blood for blood too. So there's going to be a lot more damage coming out of Plato. They're going to feel really confident in going down and even stealing this boss, as they are not too scared of the fact that Psistorm might try to defend this.
Yeah, I mean, they're level 16, and Psistorm really needs to get some picks right now. They really need to start turning the tide of the map in their favor, but they have to wait. I mean, they don't have to, but they're likely going to want to wait to engage until they have their level 16, which is pretty far off at this point. They're just now approaching level 15 and still don't have it at this point. Looks like they're just looking to interrupt as long as they can. They're sniffing around saying, oh, we wish we could have that tribute because then we would have a curse, but there's no way they could get through that wall of the members of Plato some Tangos, who are now finally going to turn all their attention on the boss. You think we'll see Psistorm try to engage into this, Gilly?
I don't know. I mean, they're sitting around here. They're trying to maybe get a little bit of experience, but they're not going to be able to get to 16 with the experience here. So maybe Kotang's going to try to burrow charge in right when they take it out. For now, they're trying to set up a little bit. Chrysalo taking a lot of damage. That, once again, the Venn diagram is there. But Kotang takes so much damage, immediately taken out. Now even Muradin is going down, and this double support, double tank, not keeping everybody alive, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. Muradin will be down as well. It's only Rhaegar and Jaina left, and even Rhaegar is gone. Poor Karate Kid, trying like mad to magic carpet out of this situation. Will he be able to do so? No, he will not. That clutch flame strike will be able to secure that kill, and with that, this is gonna be a hard defense, as there's gonna be a boss. There's gonna be 5 members, or well, 5.3. Wait, what was that? I don't even know. 5 members up here as well from Pool Plato pushing in, taking out that keep.
If I were Psistorm, I would not have tried to engage there. But I understand why they did. They really felt like this was going to be the moment. This had to be the moment, because with this push, the boss with another tribute spawning, they had to do something in order to keep that boss from pushing. The thing is, I think they would have been better served by just trying to defend where they could. Looks like the boss will go down before doing any serious damage to the core, so they are able to mitigate this damage a fair amount. But it definitely didn't benefit them to jump in that hard into that boss area. They will now have level 16, so this is where Anna the advisor would advise them to look for a good engagement now.
Yeah, they've got Numbing Blast. It's interesting they didn't take Northern Exposure knowing they needed damage, but they do have Blood for Blood on both Anubarak and Rhaegar, so they're going to have more damage there, as well as the Shooting Star, so it's going to deal more damage from that as well. They are looking to get damage, but they're not choosing to engage versus this Golem, which is interesting because they wanted to in the last one when they weren't the same talent tier. So instead they're just going to let Pool Plato pick up this boss, and now it's going to be heading toward the only remaining keep that they have.
That's not a good situation to be in, and now we see the 5-man plus a little bit, because there are 3 Vikings. Squad of Doom coming in. Looks like Pool Plato some Tangos is not afraid to fight here, even though they're on the same talent tier. The Starfall does go down, and again we have a Venn diagram with the Phoenix and the Starfall. Where will we see Jaina? Will she be able to prevail and deal enough damage? I don't know.
Well, Apollo's pretty low, but did get the Divine Shield, so still alive. Now Rhaegar and Anubarak once again are down. I think part of the problem here is that there are 3 melee heroes here on Psistorm Gaming. Anubarak, Muradin, and Rhaegar, and they're all trying to engage into the strafe, into the flame strikes, to the living bombs of Kale Sauce, and even multi-shot at that. So they're just taking so much damage just trying to get in there and trying to get on the back line of Pool Plato, and that will be it. Karate Kid has living bomb on him, but thankfully is safe in the Nexus, and that will be game. Pool Plato will move on to the next round of the series.
Yeah, the Phoenix on the steps right there. You stay in there. You stay in there and get healthy, and we're going to kill your core. That's got to feel kind of sad. But congratulations to Pool Plato some Tangos. Convincing play, great games, and congratulations moving on here in the Heroes of the Storm North America Open.
Exactly right. Looking at the bracket, if I can pull it up, I'm going to try to see who Pool Plato will be playing against next. It looks like it will be the winner of Flick of the Wrist and Fluffy Zombies, whatever those might be. We've seen Flick of the Wrist before in the amateur series that we've casted, but I don't think we've seen Fluffy Zombies.
No, I don't think we have. That's a really cute and disturbing name.
It is indeed. So we don't have a winner of that yet. We may have a little bit longer of a break while we're waiting for that series to conclude. But we have plenty more games for you guys. We will be following Pool Plato into the next round, and this section of the bracket all the way into the best of 8, I do believe. So stick with us. We will be back with more games. I'm going to get some food and some caffeine. Anna?
Yes, Gilly, actually, I'm leaving for E3 tonight, and I have to leave by 6 p.m., so this might, depending on what our games look like, this might be my last game. Should I sign off now, or should we wait and see what we're going to get next?
How about, if you need to sign off, we'll come back and sign off, and then we can go back to break. How's that sound?
That sounds great. So guys, stick around. We will be back either with a game or with a heartfelt message of love from me to you. Stay tuned.
Best of both worlds. All right, guys, we are back, and unfortunately, it's for Anna to say goodbye.
Oh, so sad to say goodbye, guys. This has been a really, really fun time here with you all weekend for the North America Open for Heroes of the Storm. I'm really hoping that you'll stay in touch with me. Lots of fun stuff coming up in the future, and especially lots more Heroes stuff coming up in the future. Gilly and I do have a show called Eye on the Storm where we talk about Heroes community, game strategy. We meet lots of people in the community like game developers, pro gamers, community members, streamers, all of those kinds of things. And you can watch that every week on Thursdays at 7:15 Pacific on this channel. So we're really glad you joined us on this channel for this tournament. There will be lots more Heroes content coming out on this channel, so we really hope what you will do is click that follow button so that you can be notified when our show goes live. We will have a show next week, even though it'll be during E3. I won't be here, but Gilly will. And then the following week, we will have our all-night party, or as it's become known, our Brawl Night party. And we will have show matches from teams that you know well during that time. And we will stay up all night, play Heroes, do some more casting just like this, and have some really fun giveaways, a big prize pool that was provided because of the second place finish that we had in the Blizzard Stream Awards. So we really hope that you'll join us for that. Again, that's June 25th, so not this coming Thursday, but the Thursday after that. And in the meantime, like I mentioned, I'm going to be going to E3. I'm going to be involved in the Twitch broadcast for E3. So starting tomorrow with Day 0 with all the press conferences for gaming, I will be on the official Twitch channel talking about those releases and intermittently throughout the week, I think. So just, if you would, stay in touch with me via Twitter at AnnaProsser. That's the best place to find out where I am, what I'm doing, and where you can hang out with me, because I love hanging out with you, and I really appreciate how much all of you guys have done to make this possible for Gilly and I. We started Eye on the Storm in hopes of becoming casters and being involved on this level with Heroes of the Storm, and we are largely thanks to all of your help. So I really appreciate you guys. I hope I'll see you around, like I said, on Twitter, and if you want to hang out with me in other places like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, everywhere, just check out my website, AnnaProsser.com.
Awesome. Well, I'm not going anywhere, but we will have a little bit of a break, guys. We will be sticking with Pool Plato into the next round, so they will play the winner of Flick of the Wrist and Fluffy Zombies. So either way, that's going to be pretty cool to see. And we will be bringing in Shane Goocher to help me with those casts as well. So raise your hype jackets, put them on, whatever you need to do, put them in the air, as we will have him here to cast. But thank you, Anna, so much for these amazing casts. It's been a lot of fun. And guys, when we return, another best of 3 coming your way.